On this episode of Delivering Marketing Joy, I talk with Amelia Madl from Promo Corner, and she talks about making the transition from sales to content to sales. Hey there, and welcome to a brand new edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hasseman, and joining me today is an absolute rock star. She's a Promo Corner rock star. She's the Vice President of Sales at Promo Corner, Amelia Madl. Thank you so much for joining me.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I kind of feel a little bit bad. You have the Promo Corner logo behind you, and I don't have one behind me.
Well, you don't need it because everybody just knows. That's it. You're good.
They know.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I need all the help I can get.
Okay.
So you have a piece of content called A Model's Closet, where you feature different apparel and items from your closet. I'm curious. Talk to me about the inspiration and where that piece came from.
Absolutely. So I've been doing this for a little over a year. My first one went out last December, and I had been at Promo Corner for only about 4 months. And I was just trying to read all the content, watch all the blogs, listen to all the podcasts, and realizing how creative all the people were that worked with me, and feeling like I was maybe a little out of my league. So I wanted to kind of contribute a little bit and have a creative outlet, because everybody thinks of, Brandon and Bill, and how awesome they do. So I was kind of spitfiring with some people and thought, what could I do that I can actually do? Because I can't do daily content like Brandon. It's just not in my wheelhouse. I have too many days where I don't want to do my hair and makeup. It's just too much. So I was like, what girl doesn't want more fashion in her closet? So I ran it by a few people, and I came up with the idea. And obviously my last name is Madl, so it was a perfect pun to have a model's closet. And so, it just kind of sparked from there. I made a few phone calls to some friends. They sent me some sample things in. I had a bunch of promo in my closet already, and I just kind of did a few tests and worked it out with Brandon.
Yeah, so it going off script already, but I'm curious because to me, it's like not only are you in a place where content is a big piece, but it's also a great brand builder for you as you're making sales calls. So
Absolutely.
I got to think that would be good.
Yeah, that was kind of the second part. So I've been in the service industry for about 7.5 years now. But I was, again, at a new company. So I had to build my reputation to being at this company. And I can only make so many phone calls and be in so many places. So social media is a great way to get that out there and let people know, and have them follow you. And it's fun, and just have a good time with it.
No, that's absolutely fun. No, yeah, absolutely. You can tell you're putting your personality into it, and I appreciate that. So I'm curious. So you've been in sales, so talking to people face to face or even in groups might be easy. But can you discuss the transition of doing something like this? Like all of a sudden you're staring at a camera. Was it a piece of cake? Was it easy? Or talk about the difference.
No. In fact, I'm having severe anxiety right now talking to you on camera. I hate listening to myself and seeing myself on camera. We do video chats through Promo Corner all the time. And Bill has gotten to where he will text me first, like, are you okay to video chat? Because he knows I just hate being just on the screen automatically. So it was hard. When I first started doing it, I would start and stop every time I'd mess up. So poor Brandon, who does my editing, I would send him 20 clips, and he would try to piece it together. And he's like, just go, just don't stop, just go.
Yep.
If you mess up, it's fine. We can take care of it in editing. But I've gotten more comfortable over time. For the first 6 months, I had to have it on selfie mode so I could see myself to adjust, because I'm a girl and I'm vain and I can pick myself apart very easily. And I've gotten to where I can just do it. I do 2 takes and I just let it roll. I don't even watch it. Yeah. So we just let it go.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that, because great advice from Brandon is I tell people that all the time. Keep going, even if you know you're not going to use the take, because it gives you sort of verbal and mental reps so that you're stronger the next time anyway. I think when people start and stop, they almost create the habit of stopping. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think so many times in our heads, it's got to be perfect, but that's not how people talk. People say, people interrupt, people start, stop. And I think sometimes when we focus on that, we actually bring more attention to it than the listeners actually notice.
Yeah, it makes it real.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. Everybody knows. So no, I'm not perfect, and it's not a perfect show, and that's what it's supposed to be. It is more of a unscripted show. I literally just usually in the mornings I'll look through and say, okay, I'm going to put this together. Yep, unscripted. I make sure I have the item name written down correctly. But other than that, I just go off the cuff. So literally just random things will come out of my mouth. And when I watch it, it's almost like everybody else watching it for the first time because I have no idea what I said. And I prefer it that way.
Yeah.
So
no, I love that. That's great.
It keeps it fun.
And I think it's a good kind of inspiration for people who want to do something, but they have that phobia sort of like you do, that you can overcome that. So I want to talk a little bit about sales for you, because content is obviously super important, but what are some tips and lessons that you've received that still have value today in a sales world?
Just really being genuine. Like I said, I've always been on the service provider side, so I've never really sold a hard good or a soft good, so it's a little bit of a different beast. But it all comes back down to a saying we've heard before: people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And if you're full of bull, people are going to find out, hear about it. This is also a small industry, so it's a big family and a small industry. So I think you just go back to the golden rule and you treat others as you would want to be treated. We're all kind of small business owners in a way. So I would never sell or treat somebody how I wouldn't want to be treated if it was my business and my money.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I just finished reading a book, The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. And he talks about sort of the principles of when you're playing a long game, you make different choices. And I think that's sort of what you're talking about. It's like, hey, I want to create long term.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's you need to, because the customers are going to be your customers throughout. And people that I work with at company A might have been at company C 2 months ago, and they'll call me up. Hey, I remember you from here. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's great advice. Okay, so you've answered my 3 questions. I give everybody a chance to ask me a question. Do you have one for me?
I do. So in reference to content, you produce a lot, and I'm sorry if you've already been asked this question, but how do you continue to produce the amount of content that you do and seem to still enjoy it? Like, it's a lot. It's work. People think, oh, it's so fun. They're on a video. They have that. But it can be a grind, and you've been doing it for a long time. So how do you do it and still enjoy it?
No, that's a great question. It's funny. I was actually having this conversation at lunch today, asking, and I think each piece of content, and like you said, I do a blog, I do video stuff, and then podcasting, and I think each piece serves me in a different way. I think blogging for me is often very cathartic. It's almost therapeutic. I can really think through my thoughts. The podcasting piece, I mean, it's a business piece, but then, obviously I enjoy the conversations with Bill. I'd say video is my fun. Like, that's the part, I feel like that's the piece that I get to create something. And I feel like at the beginning of the day, it wasn't there. At the end of the day, it is there. And so it's almost like I've put something together that I can show the world. And other than that, how do I keep going is based on deadlines, ego, and
coffee.
Yeah, that's right. And but for me, actually, deadlines help a ton. Not only because, I've told the audience that I'm going to show up on a Wednesday for Delivering Marketing Joy, but it also creates that internal timeline too, that like, come Friday, if I don't have something produced, I'm starting to sweat. So by creating those deadlines, that's honestly how I sort of manage it. So
awesome.
So cool. That is a great question. And I appreciate you doing this. We'll have to do it again sometime, okay?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Over drinks next time.
Okay, I'm down with that. And that is going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.